While working on written assignment 1 and reading chapters 3 and 4 in the textbook, I've learned a lot more about what makes a Western and a non-Western work so different from each other and what the characteristics of both of these are. While looking into a non-Western work, I was able to learn more about the Tale of the White Snake, which is a popular Chinese legend that has an opera adaptation by Tian Han that uses different musical devices to tell its story. This legend is about a white snake spirit that transforms into like a human form in a young woman, and her name is Bai Susan. While there's many different parts and episodes to this story, Han chose to specifically look further into the love story and telling how Bai falls in love with a human man named Zhu Xian. While there's a lot of different musical devices that are used throughout this story, one comes up very quick into the beginning, which is the very first scene where Zhu starts by singing in a really high falsetto range while explaining that he has no interest in love. The textbook describes a falsetto range as being the head voice used in male singers that allows them to reach higher notes that typically a woman would be able to sing. Because of the higher notes that Zhu has while singing this falsetto tone, that means that he falls into the category of being a soprano singer at the time because he has a higher range. The pitches used in this scene alone show how different ranges can be used to add emotional intensity to the words and what different actors or characters are singing. For example, if Zhu had chosen to sing in a lower tone, the audience could have interpreted this in a different way. The Western work that I looked further into was a very popular musical called Hamilton by Lin-Manuel Miranda, which I already was very familiar with, but I hadn't realized before the different musical devices that are used. One characteristic of a Western work used in Hamilton is the use of harmonies. And a harmony is when the pitches support the melody and contrasting tones are used to create sounds that wouldn't have been possible if there had only been one singer at a time. An example of this is in the song Schuyler Sisters, when the sisters make a 3-part melody and bring together a common theme of unity between the sisters, which is important to the storyline. Here's a clip of a part of the Schuyler Sisters where the harmony adds emphasis to the lyrics at a specific part and brings chord progressions together. In that clip, you are able to see how different voices could support the same melody and make a really beautiful sound together. Another important thing to point out about Hamilton is the use of jazz and rap and other pop genres that appeal to a more modern audience, whereas non-Western works don't use those genres. While this video barely scratches the surface of the differences between Western and non-Western works, and there are very different musical devices used for each of them, there are also many similarities. The Tale of the White Snake is a Beijing opera which is really well known in Chinese culture for relying on constant character and symbolic actions. While the continuity of the actors' actions throughout this opera are very vital to storytelling and how the story progresses, it's also equally important in Hamilton. Miranda uses continuity of these characters to keep their values true to themselves, and that adds to the storytelling. If actors and characters didn't stay consistent to their roles, then it would make the audience very confused and they wouldn't be able to understand what was happening in the stories. Another similarity between Western and non-Western works is that they both use different forms of dancing and movement to draw in an audience attention. For example, in The Tale of the White Snake, some scenes instead of singing are just martial arts. Here's an example. While there are no words here that are sung, it still adds to the progression of the story. The musical Hamilton takes dancing on in a different angle where they have many different actors at one time moving to the rhythm and beats of the songs. Here's an example. As you can see, they both use movement in different ways, however, they both contribute to the storytelling. The Tale of the White Snake, which is a non-Western work, and Hamilton, which is a Western work, both use musical devices to help narrate their stories in effective but separate ways.